What's up, Leafs fans, and welcome to Leafs Digest. Back with Goody here, breaking down Game 3, Leafs versus Habs. Leafs win this one 2-1 in just a slow burner type fashion. Not much action in the third period in terms of goals. Nothing scored, actually. The Leafs kind of looked a little sluggish in the offensive scheme of things, but they managed to hold off the Habs, pushing all the way until the last buzzer. And honestly, I think this is a good team win, but Goody, how did you feel about tonight's win? Getting up on the series 2-1, winning this one 2-1, feels good all around.
It was a solid team effort, and they were peppering Carey Price right up until the third period. At that point, I think we got our second shot within the 5-minute mark. So things started hot for us. Montreal found a way to respond, but it wasn't enough. We came out with the W, so I'm real happy. And if you guys follow the Instagram, you know I had a first 3 goals bet placed on Toronto. I threw the hammer down on it. I'm not gonna disclose exactly how much, but tough to see. I thought we were gonna get an empty netter. We got robbed a few times as well. Marner in tight. Tough luck there, but I'm not gonna be upset on a Leafs dub night, especially in the playoffs.
No, it was a good night in terms of winning and just general team play. I thought the team played really, really well tonight, actually. Just top down. You have a guy like Nick Foligno goes out. It's a little... I honestly was trying to think about like how concerning this was. And at first I was thinking, it's not that bad. It's a lower body thing. He'll just take the game and get back at it tomorrow or get back at it in the next game. But the more I thought about it, it was like, he had a day in between the game today, and he had a travel day. He had a rest day. He isn't able to go tonight. And then it's not like he has that much time to wait until the next game to get back in there because they're literally right back at it again tomorrow night. And I almost feel like it's the playoffs. And if you're not ready to go tonight, what's going to make you ready to go tomorrow? So are you concerned at all with this Nick Foligno injury? Because honestly, right now, I am a little bit.
He's had some weird, confusing injuries even since getting to the Leafs. He had that one where he stopped on a dime in the crease, and all of a sudden he's out with a lower body injury, or I think it was classified as an upper body there, which confused us. But he's had some sketchy injuries that we didn't really know a lot about. I trust that the Leafs management is handling it pretty discreetly, which is why we don't know a ton. But I'm not too concerned about it because worst comes to worst, he takes a few more games to come back, and I think we stay in the driver's seat of this series. I'm not too worried. Similar situation with the Johnny T thing where we lost a big piece in him, but I think the goal actually really does remain the same no matter who's in the lineup. We got that kind of depth, so I'm not too worried about the Foligno injury. I hope he's back soon, and I bet he will be. But yeah, I bet you the Leafs bubble is going to be airtight about this.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to hear too much on it, honestly, especially come playoff time. They keep things pretty tight-lipped as it goes already, and then when it comes down to the hockey being this important, it tends to shut up a little bit more and just kind of keep things behind the scenes. But I'm hoping, I don't think he'll play tomorrow. That's my personal just projection. I could be proved wrong. You never know. He did skate today in warm-up and just decided he couldn't go, and the team decided he couldn't go. So let's hope he's back tomorrow. But I honestly think that if he's not good to go tonight, I can't see him in the lineup tomorrow. But in terms of the team play and the team in general missing him, I'm not as concerned because I think that the speed and the size that the team brought and the physical presence that they played with tonight was enough to just make up for that loss of Nick Foligno being out. I honestly think that this is a team that in past years they kind of wilt away under the physicality of the other teams, but especially tonight in a game like tonight, it looked like they were very prepared to take part in that physical game that the Habs bring. And it seemed like they were ready to match it and then just outplay them on their speed and skill.
Yeah, and a big part of weathering that storm, because we saw it in the third, the Habs ended up punching back, comes down to TJ Brody and Bogosian. To me, that pairing tonight was so lights out. And when the physicality level went up, their focus just matched it right there. They didn't get rushed with the puck. They're sizable physical players, so it didn't daunt them too much. They're veterans. That's really what we've been missing in years past. So that was what helped us keep up with the physical pace of the game. I love seeing guys like Matthews finally starting to chip in. He's got that huge frame. All that's left is to see one career tilt out of him, but hopefully we don't see that anytime in the playoffs. I really like the effort tonight, and the physicality was there because it's the playoffs. It's that kind of atmosphere, and the Leafs are starting to match it on a nightly basis, which you're going to need to do if you want to go to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, exactly. And I really did like when we saw Bogosian and Brody out there together. I saw Rasmus Sandin was getting a lot of minutes and a lot of quality minutes, especially in the third period there when it's a 1-goal game. Sheldon Keefe showed a lot of trust in him, and I honestly would mirror that same trust because every time I watch Rasmus Sandin on the ice, I feel very comfortable with him out there. Not just his offensive play and what he brings to the table there, but just his defensive awareness and his ability to shut guys down that way. He's not going to overpower you in terms of his size, but he's a physical guy. He's not afraid to engage and get in battles, and he really does match the physicality on the ice and kind of just shut things down. And then once he turns the puck over and is able to go the other way, it's honestly amazing to watch because he's so skilled at it. But we did see that lineup of Bogosian and Brody roll out there a whole bunch in the third period, and it was more of just a shutdown. Like, this is a safe, like, grab the puck off the glass and out, or make that quick, easy tape-to-tape pass. Like, you're not trying to do too much with it. And then just the physicality that Bogosian brought, and even TJ Brody. Like, you mentioned that Matthews getting in there and getting gritty. TJ Brody took a penalty at the end of that second period because he got into it with Josh Anderson. You didn't really see it on the broadcast, but, like, I kind of just love seeing that TJ Brody was in the mix there, going at a guy like Josh Anderson. And even just Matthews was going out and grabbing Shea Weber, like, buckets are ripped off, they're face washing each other. Like, honestly, Austin Matthews, I said it in the last pod that I just did after game 2. I think that he's kind of resembling what Ovi was doing in that playoff run where they went and won the cup and he just became a beast all around. And I think Matthews is kind of having a little bit of spurts of that where you can see, like, okay, this guy is a different cat. Like, he is out there, but I really think that Matthews is embracing playoff hockey.
Yeah, it's shades of your star needing to diversify. He's helped work in things into his game. His offensive game has always been so complete. I think that the one-timers is something he's really brought in the latter half of his career that's made him deadly from virtually anywhere on the ice.
Yeah.
So it's really the in-between game. We know he's got a good stick on defense. That's been known about Matthews. He plays that Mark Stone kind of takeaway game. Not to that level, but that's honestly a ceiling I would give him in his own end. He's really good. So that's coming along for sure. And to stay on the topic also, the physicality of where the game went, I just wanted to mention this because even though we matched it in some ways very literally, in other ways we just did a good job of shaking it off and playing well. And I think the best example of that is Kerfoot. Kerfoot had a great game, but I can think of like 4 to 5 times just now off the top of my head where he got ragdolled. Mm-hmm. And there was no penalty there to make him feel better about it. He got up, kept skating, and did his thing. So props to Kerfoot. He's a guy that really couldn't elevate to that physical level, but didn't get daunted by it. And then guys like Matthews, who you don't really expect, they're coming out of their shell and laying some body. Don't know if we'll ever see it from Marner, but I'm loving what I'm seeing from Matthews as well. It is shades of Ovi where they're starting to ask more of this guy who's traditionally just finding you goals. We need more out of Matthews if that's the final goal for us, is to lift the cup like Ovi did.
Yeah, I actually think that's a good point about Kerfoot there. Like, even the guys on the team who don't bring physicality and can't necessarily add that to their game, like, they're not going to be a intimidating physical presence out there. They've really showed in these first 3 games that they're not scared to be a part of the physical play. Like, these are guys who will still go in the scrum and grab someone by the mouth and throw a little face wash and try and rip someone's helmet off. And then, like you said, like Kerfoot, like taking a hit, making a play and not shying away from it moving forward. Like, this guy just kept going. And I agree. Like, he did have a good game tonight. So I think that that's good because even if you're not going to be physical, not being afraid of the physicality is a very, very important thing come playoff time, because even if you're not going to be the guy to go out there and try and run someone over, like kind of how we've seen Austin Matthews doing, but if you're going to embrace the physicality of the game and embrace the intensity, then it elevates your game and the game of the team in general to a whole new level that is hard to compete with, especially when you have that much skill. One guy that I actually have seen really getting involved, and he has been a stud these first 3 games, is William Nylander. This guy has absolutely stepped up to the plate with John Tavares missing, scores goals in his first 3 games. He's the first Leaf to score in first 3 games of a playoff series since Alex McGillney back in the early 2000s, which is pretty wild stat. I mean, I guess the Leafs did have a huge, like, gap where they missed playoffs consecutively and then kind of have been in it recently on a continuous basis. But to have a guy do that and step up in that role, he's really, really living up to what his contract is, and not just on the offensive end, but in his defensive presence and the physicality he's bringing.
Oh, I've been looking at the Nylander contract as a value one for some time now, and Willie's starting to carry it over into the postseason, which we need out of him. We talked about it on an earlier pod, how the illusion of a really smooth and confident skater can sometimes come across as someone being lackadaisical or lazy. And in Willie's case, he gets a bit of that Swede slander too, where people just don't think he's trying. Willie is out there retrieving pucks like I haven't seen him do in his career before, and he's doing it with such ease and such intelligence of where his teammates are on the ice at the time. I was really blown away by the puck possession by Nylander. They had that crazy shift there at the one point in the second period. I'm sure you can remember the one I'm talking about where they just peppered the net. It was like two lines in
Yeah.
a row. The Canadians were on their heels, and Willie was such a big part of keeping the puck in the zone at that time. And obviously, he gets us started off with that goal. It's great stuff from Willie. He's really an unsung hero for us, but the more and more he plays like this, the more and more he's going to become a front line of the team.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that he's stepping up in while Tavares is out and still providing that offense and then matching it with a good, solid defensive play. Like, he's not a guy who's going to step up even like Austin Matthews and play as defensively sound as him. But just to be able to contribute and be defensively aware is something that I feel like we've been wanting from him and saying, like, pointing out continuously as, oh, this is what's lacking. And he seems to be filling that void while Tavares is out. Like, stepping up his game all around, which is great to see. Now, the Habs tie the game up on a weird play. Like you mentioned that the Leafs ended up hemming in the Habs in their zone for a while. It wasn't on that exact play, but there was a shift like right after where the Leafs were in there for a while, holding them in. The Habs kind of just chip it out, lucky bounce around the point, and then they go the other way on a 2-on-2. Nick Suzuki down the wall on his strong side, fires it far side past Jack Campbell. Really, from the Leafs perspective, I didn't see much wrong with the defensive play of the team, but Morgan Rielly has to get across on that. Like, he just left him be, and then all of a sudden Nick Suzuki's in a prime area to shoot and score, and he does.
Yeah, you're right. And I think that's why Morgan Rielly felt real good about delivering the game-winning goal tonight, which was awesome, assisted by Kerfoot. Like we said, a guy who played big despite the frame tonight. Yeah, Rielly, he's at times seemed a little bit like he's trying to do too much. That was definitely a hiccup by Rielly. That was also a shot there by Suzuki that I didn't think there was any chance for Campbell to save. I think Campbell played a real solid game, but Morgan Rielly's been an outspoken leader for us since day one. So we're going to need his play to be consistent for us on a nightly basis when we're giving him that top dog spotlight.
Yeah, and then you mentioned Morgan Rielly there redeeming himself and scoring that goal. I'm actually going to give that one my Poppy power play of the day. So I'm going to give this one to Rielly for two reasons, really. One, because he redeemed himself on that kind of defensive gaffe, really, where he just let Suzuki walk all the way in and take a shot from a prime area. But the other reason is really defense on the Leafs have not been offensive contributors almost in the past 2 years. Like, they have not really stepped up and been providing any kind of offensive edge. And last game we saw it from Rasmus Sandin, with a bomb from the point on the power play, and it kind of just made the Habs have to respect that point shot a little bit more. And now if another defense or multiple other defense, let's hope not, it doesn't end at Sandin and Rielly here, but if they can step up and contribute offensively, it's going to create problems not just for the Habs, but for other matchups potentially going forward if the Leafs come out of this series, because it's not just going to be a forwards offensively dominated team. If the defense can step in and shoot the puck, which is something they've struggled to do, really, just to even shoot the puck. Like, they always tend to hold on to it. But if they can shoot the puck and be threats and then have it go in on like occasion like tonight, then I think it's going to create problems for the other team. It's going to be something they have to respect moving forward.
Definitely. And in a series against a guy like Carey Price, who's red hot, by all means, just red hot, they're not winning, but he's keeping them in every game and pretty much every moment of the play. So Carey Price has been that good that I wouldn't expect my D-men to be directly rallying up the goals in a series, or tallying up the goals in a series like this. But you do want to see more work from the point where we're getting tips, redirects. Yeah. More of that stuff is always good. You always want traffic and just chaos in front of the net. It's a recipe for good things, especially on your power play, which for the Leafs is hopefully continuing to turn around, because we're going to need that down the stretch. And working it from the point is something that is always a good approach, especially on the power play. And you have a bit of a trade-off when you got guys like Muzzin and Bogosian in the lineup, and even TJ Brody to an extent, where you're leveraging some skill for toughness. But again, I think that pays off in the long run. We got enough guys up front who can score and get the dirty work in the corners of the offensive zone when it comes down to it. But yeah, a little bit more parity on the blue line in terms of offensive opportunity will never hurt. And I was happy to see Sandin punch through the other night. I know you were loving that. He's your boy.
Yeah.
So that was good stuff all around from the Leafs blue men. Or
Yeah,
blue
my
line.
my two X factors got on the board last game. I said Jason Spezza was the one X factor, and then the sneaky X factor was Rasmus Sandin, and both guys ended up getting on the board last game. So I was feeling pretty good about that. But Carey Price, like you mentioned, how his play. I think game 1 and then again tonight in game 3, Carey Price was Carey Price. There's going to be the occasional night where he just kind of almost, I wouldn't say throws in the towel because he's not giving up, but he just kind of gets lit up back there. Like he's getting the sunscreen out after the game because he's got a little burn on the back of his neck. And you've got to take advantage of those nights because they're few and far between. But one thing that I think is important to note here is that when Carey Price plays like Carey Price, the real Carey Price, it's important for Jack Campbell to match that. If you're going to be a number 1 goaltender and you're going to go on a long playoff run, you can't allow yourself to get out-dueled by the other goaltender, no matter who they are or what their name is. It doesn't matter that it's Carey Price or it's going to be Connor Hellebuck on the other end. You can't let them outshine you in net. You have to step up to the plate and match the intensity, match the saves, match what they're doing. And that's exactly what Jack Campbell did tonight. In game 1, honestly, we even mentioned it, he played a really, really solid game. He only let in 2 goals and both of them were breakaway goals. The second one was very fluky in terms of just the guy makes an incredible play, Paul Byron flying down the wing on the shorthanded, falls down and kind of ends up chipping it over Campbell's shoulder. It's like, what are you really going to do there? Second breakaway of the game. And then tonight, Price, 27 saves, .931 save percentage. He has 2 goals against. Jack Campbell, 28 saves, .966 save percentage, 1 goal against. And he played amazing in that third period. Like you said, the Leafs only had 2 shots or whatever it was in the third, and the Habs were just bombarding them with shots, and Campbell just stood up to the challenge.
Yeah, he's been the image of consistency for us this year, and I was never too worried about it continuing over into the playoffs. I know some people might have felt a little extra shaky about it after game 1, but we're settling right in. Game 1 was some abnormal circumstances and really unfortunate for everyone involved, but in my opinion, there hasn't even really been a goal that I would look at in this playoffs, and I was just mad at Campbell for. And that's a rarity when it comes to the Leafs, especially of recent history. So I'm definitely pleased with Campbell. Even throughout the loss, I wasn't upset with him whatsoever. I thought he played solid, and I expect this going forward from him. It would be statistically an outlier if he started letting in a bunch of goals, and he seems to have the fun, happy-go-lucky personality that's really important for a goalie. You can't beat yourself up too much. You can't take it too seriously. Also, looking at Carey Price, feeling like you're going up against, the god of goaltending. You got to know that he is in the same league as you.
Yeah.
Someone laid back like Campbell, I think he's going into it with a fun mentality, the right mentality, and it's showing.
Yeah, exactly. And now let's get into our grades of the game. So, Goody, do you want to take the lead on this one? You didn't get to give your grade after last game, so I'll let you take the floor for this one.
I'm going to go with an A-. I would consider giving them just a flat-out A, but they spoiled my bet. Where's that third goal? We never score on an empty net.
It's a personal vendetta.
It is a personal vendetta, but come on, they got to want a stat pad more as well. You got an empty net there for a full 2 minutes. Help me out. You're getting robbed left and right by Carey Price, but I'm leaving it at an A because, an A- because they played really solid, regardless of just 2 goals up on the board. They played the defensive way, which is going to be really key when things aren't going your way on the other end. You got to clean that up. So they seem to have the right priorities and their approach at the moment, and I love the effort tonight. We're up 2-1.
I'm going to match you here with an A-. I don't know. I think you're right in that not every night you're going to score 5 goals, and you need to find a way to win 2-1 when it's going to come down to it and when Carey Price is going to play like he is. And you got to just score like straight up. I know it's the name of the game, and yeah, it's as easy as this to say, but you got to score more than the other team. And if their goalie's going to play like he did tonight, you just have to find a way to put more in than they score on you. And that's kind of what the Leafs did, and they found a way to muscle this one out. I'm not going with the minus because of the vendetta you have against them because of the lost bet. But what I will say is that although they played really strong in the third period defensively, not giving up any goals, I think that they need to step up with the offense. You can't just resort to strictly let's shut down and play defense here, because you need to put the other team on their heels in some sort of way. You can't just let them control the momentum in terms of shots and chances. You need to match it and still continue to be a threat to score, because yeah, they got out of it tonight, and it was really good to see them hold on to that win. It's something that I feel like in years past we would have watched them let it slip away, and that's really good to see tonight. It's a maturity process, but still continuing to generate chances in the third period when you're up a goal like that. You don't need to be taking huge risks, but still being able to kind of put the boots to them offensively will put them back on their heels and allow the game to even out that kind of way, and not have you sitting back and letting the game come to you. But again, I was really impressed with the game tonight. Really impressed with Jack Campbell, and it's great to see a defenseman get on the board, regardless of that goal that he probably knows that he should have been over there making that defensive play, getting up on Suzuki. But yeah, A- from both the boys tonight on this one. But I'm feeling good about the Leafs, up 2-1 in the series with a 2-1 win tonight, and the fireworks are buzzing. I don't know if people can hear it outside. I'm just going to say it's because the Leafs won this one. The Leafs lead this series against the Habs 2-1. I know it's the Victoria Day weekend and long weekend. People are out there celebrating with that. But for tonight only, I'm going to say it's because the Leafs won this one, and the city of Toronto and all of GTA is fired up. So with that being said, we will be right back at it with a back-to-back tomorrow night, Tuesday, May 24th at 7:30 p.m. for Game 4 against the Montreal Canadiens. We'll see you guys then.